Welcome back to Let's Play Light Day Lab with MCL PS4. Let's get this shit on the road. Doesn't even show? No, I mean shit. Because shit, man, that fucking janitor's an asshole. Anyways, step 2. Just like I thought you were focusing on that, yeah, we need to do this first, though. We got the thing so we can fix it. The cassette is not working. The drive bell's been cut, so we put in the drive bell and we do this, and we could play.
Fire! Mom!
That's the voice of that girl. Who are you? Why are you here this late?
How long have you been standing there? Who are you? Are you Zach Bagans?
I'm the night duty teacher. Look, I don't know why you're here, but here's the key card. That leads outside. Be careful. It's dangerous here at night. Night is when the dead ones come to life.
Yeah, you're totally Zach Bagans. I don't know. I mean, the hair isn't quite the same, but the glasses are just generally just makes me think of Zach Bagans of Ghost Adventures. Why you tell me this, Zach? Then why don't you leave here with me?
I really wish I could do that. Get out of here before it's too late. Or you'll get trapped in this school forever, too.
Look at this now. Look at this. Just how? That's how we get the blue key card. Key card that can unlock doors in the blue section of the building. Use it on the card reader. This is how we can open that door on the bottom floor, so we can, you know, have that as a way of getting around more easily. And also, more importantly, the janitor room or whatever it's called. But that guy, man, he's an important character who, if you don't really pay much attention, you'll kind of like completely overlook his importance in the plot. But to be fair, it's mostly explained in the extra character scenario, so easily missable. Also, if you put this CD in the computer room, in the computer that's switched on, you will get something on the screen and it'll get printed out and you read it and it gives you a lot of context, but I'm going to avoid doing that until a different route, essentially. Just like we go in this kind of blindly where we're just like, at first just like, what does it all mean? What's going on with the story? And then gradually, as we understand more of the story, then I'll get around to doing that, so that will get further context. That's essentially how I'm going to do that. I hope the janitor isn't around. There's also this as well. But I want to get that light out of the way first. That's by far the most pain in the ass part. But it also comes down to, one thing. Has the janitor already switched off the light? If he switched off the light, then it's completely pointless. Because it resets all the other lights and you have to do the pattern all over again. Which is freaking ridiculously annoying. Oh shit. Of course he had to fucking spawn in the direction I was going in. Hopefully he doesn't spot me as I back away then. God damn, this hallway is long as shit. Come on, hallway, end already. Okay, if he's gonna be down there, should be safe. There's also this room that will come in importance, but I want to get this freaking obnoxious puzzle out of the way first. You know what, I'll unlock it, but I won't actually open it yet. Maybe that's why the janitor's alert here. He's like, oh, I sense point B of this progression. I must go there. Oh, never mind. You see what I mean? See that direction he's moving in? That's the exact direction we gotta go. What a fucking bell end. I hate that guy. He's such an ass. Fuck it. You know what? Doubly fuck it. Might as well just put the light on, why not? Should be... yeah, there it is. We got 2 emergency kits now. And this is the puzzle we come for. World time zones. The birth of the world time. At the end of the 19th century, Great Britain's Greenwich Meridian was set as the prime meridian during the International Meridian Conference in Washington, D.C. Used the Greenwich Meridian as the standard, an hour was added or subtracted for every 15 degrees, depending on the direction, east or west. After this, the whole world began using GMT, Greenwich Meridian Time, as standard time. And the time difference is as follows. Local time for each city, Greenwich GMT plus 0, Washington DC GMT plus 3, Moscow GMT plus 3, minus 3 for Washington DC if I didn't say that right. Beijing GMT plus 8. For example, if it's 2 a.m. in Greenwich, then it's 11 p.m. in Washington DC and 10 a.m. in Beijing. It's like very specific, isn't it? It's like, why those 4 locations? It's because each of those locations has a clock that, well, no, each of those locations, well, they do have a clock, but what I mean is each location has a picture on the wall of said location and a clock next to it. And you've got to set the time, and it's always randomized, so you've got to check the one that's got the Greenwich, because that's the 0 time, and then from there you look at it, you take 3 away for the Washington DC, you add 3 for Moscow, and you add 8 for Beijing. It's not awfully difficult, but with it being randomized, you do have to, you know, get to this point. You can't just do it one bit at a time because you need the puzzle itself to tell you what the default time is. And the only way to do that is to get the blue key card, because it's the only way to get to the room that has this, essentially. Picture of the Royal Observatory in Greenwich. So it has the default time in here on the clock, which is 2. It's the only clock you can't change of the rooms, because it's the one that's standard for the time. Fuck it, he's gonna be a while. I might as well do this one. I think this is the Moscow one, yeah. Moscow, the Kremlin. So this one was forward in time, right? So by 3 hours, 3, 4, 5. This one I think is Beijing. Picture of Tiananmen Square in Beijing. So 8 hours forward, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, now that I think about it. No? Oh. He's still very much in the area. Where'd he go? I assume he's going this way. It's my guess. Oh, he's over there. Look at this fucking jackass, though. Look at him. Look at him being a jackass. What a jackass, eh? What a fucking jackass. He's like, stubborn there. I'm gonna stall your progress. If he's gonna be like this, I might as well go the other way around. Because knowing my luck, he'll probably go up the stairs. Which, I mean, actually, that'd be bad either way, really. It's gonna be annoying. Much like that. Right there, where she's like, yeah, I'm going to destroy your stamina. I've also just realized there's a puzzle that I overlooked in one of those rooms. I'll get to it. I just got more pressing matters to deal with here with the whole, you know, puzzle of bullshit lights. Yeah, he's gone up there now. Okay, idea is keep under here and hopefully he doesn't spot me. Also gotta be cautious, of course. Always gotta be cautious. You'll eventually try to turn that light off, and I want to do this before it. So if I have to, I will rush this puzzle more or less. The trouble is you gotta unlock it, open the door, and hit the freaking switch on the generator. Let's go for it. It's this one. So yeah, if he turns off any of the room lights within that time, that won't happen because you won't be able to trip the switch without it, without all of those specific room orders of lights being on. I'm not sure where he spawned now. Usually he would spawn right down there, because he does respawn after every little kind of cutscene stuff. A ghost story, the mystery in the biology lab. There were many strange rumors surrounding the biology lab. Most of them feature a walking mannequin or a scraping noise across the floor. Also, most of these rumors were based off the history of the school building. The history of the school building goes all the way back to the occupation era. The building was used as a concentration camp for political prisoners. Some parts of the concentration camp were used by the occupying military to conduct horrendous experiments on human subjects. Interruption, where was I? Yeah. Every single experiment that was conducted there was evil and inhumane. The screams of the subjects filled the air around the clock. Students believed that the location of the biology lab used to be one of those human experimentation labs. So every time there was an accident in the biology lab, the students always brought up the idea that it had something to do with the curse of the human experiment victims who were killed there, or that the head's researcher remained in the form of a ghost. Some even went to say that the anatomy mannequin in the corner of the room was actually a corpse of one of the experiment subjects. Yeah, I find it funny how the story started off by mentioning, you know, room ghost stories and stuff usually have something like this or a mannequin, and what do you know, it's going there with the mannequin story here. I mean, it's in the name. Well, no, it isn't actually. It just says the mystery in the biology lab, doesn't it? We have the most famous rumor of them all was the imprisonment accident. Wait, no, I think I skipped a bit. Mannequin in the corner. Wait, some mannequin in the corner room was actually a corpse of one of the experiments. Okay. However, the most famous rumor of them all was the imprisonment accident D. Accident. D didn't get very good grades, but he was especially interested in science and he worked hard in his studies. Science teacher took pity on him and recommended D to be the school's representative for a science contest. D saw it as a great opportunity for him and studied even harder. With the teacher's permission, he stayed behind every day after school and did to study more and prepare himself for the contest. The area which he spent the greatest amount of effort on was the human anatomy composition. He studied the anatomy mannequin on a daily basis. A few days before the science contest, D, who was studying alone in the biology lab, was so exhausted that he fell asleep. When he woke up, it was dark and the lights had been turned off. He tried to turn the light back on, but it didn't work. Even the door seemed to be locked from outside. He had no choice but to stay in the dark biology lab and spend the night there. He usually never bothered to think about the rumors, but his current situation triggered his memory to replay all the scary stories he had heard. The more he tried not to think about him, the stronger they came into his mind. He was becoming more afraid with each passing second. He was especially afraid of the anatomy mannequin in the dark. His heartbeat raced and it was becoming hard for him to breathe. He was so scared that he decided to light an alcohol lamp. Just as the flame itself brought its flickering light to the room, the anatomy mannequin suddenly came alive and slowly started to move towards D. The next morning, D was found dead in a biology lab. The cause of death was reported as a heart attack. What was failed to be explained was that his nails were ripped from their beds, and on the biology lab door there were scratch marks of trails of blood, and a word scrawled in blood that read, anatomy mannequin. That feels like one of the weaker ones, really, doesn't it? It's kind of like... It kind of acknowledges itself that it's a pretty kind of cliche story. Where does it say it? It's like, most of them feature a walking mannequin or a scraping noise across the floor. I mean, they had both, technically. A scraping on the freaking door and the mannequin combined. We haven't actually, like, I did try to get that, because every ghost story has a ghost in the game you can encounter. You gotta get both to complete the ghost list. And we haven't actually seen the mannequin one yet. I tried to get it to work, but one time, quite a while back, but that didn't end up happening. Also, back to the points. We got the key down there, but this asshole's in the area, so it's kind of a bit of a dilemma. But yeah, that whole light switch shit is possibly the toughest thing to do in the entire game. Once you do that, it's pretty straightforward from here on out. For the most part, anyway. New building rooftop key. Key that unlocks the door to the rooftop of the new building. God damn it, you can never walk backwards into these rooms most of the time. It's gonna be a bit tricky with him being right there, you know? Or is it? Okay, maybe not. It's a picture of the Pentagon in Washington, D.C., and if you remember, that's... God damn it. That's 3 times away from the standard time, so that would make it, since the standard time was 2, it'd be 11. I said 11. Now we can make progress. Just like you've already made a bit of progress. What more can you want? Spirit bell, a bell that makes a clear sound. This right here will allow us to go back through that hallway to the other building. Essentially, the ghosts, who I don't think we've got a ghost story yet. Essentially, you need the bells. Which makes sense, she is singing that song after all. I guess, but would it make sense when she's singing a song in Korean? Because does the song in Korean even reference bells? Man, the bells look like the head of Trapinch, you know, that one Pokemon. Fascinating. But that's not all. We've also got L-Rod, an L-shaped rod. You know, when I first got these, I was like, okay. There was something that kind of mentioned these in one of the notes. I was like, okay, I think I get it. But then I didn't get it when I got to the point where I had to use them because I was like, I had no idea what I was doing. But I don't think I'll get to that just yet. Because now that we can go to the other building, it's like we got the rooftop key now, and instead of heading to the rooftop and advancing any further, I think now's the time to focus on all the bullshit puzzly stuff. Because we're pretty much in the end game area at this point. It's like, because the next area is essentially like not too far from... How did I overlook this? Is essentially when we go to the rooftop, we'll get something, and then we'll get something else, and then we go somewhere else, and then blah 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 blah, and pretty much end of the game essentially. Of course, if we were on So Young's path, sort of route thing, that would be an additional section of the game that would come after that, but if you're on one of the old characters, you don't really get to that point. And if you're playing the extra character, it's even more different. Why am I going up to the rooftop when I said not to? It's like, save that for when, you know, words, but when we actually, you know, have got all the other ghost stuff, essentially. So the next few parts are probably going to be a bit more puzzly, you know. So now we do not get that haunting singing, which is a shame. It breaks up the monotony a bit, you know, of just ominous ambience. Don't even need to be careful in this area, really. It's like, you go through there, and it's like, can you really go back? Because it's quite a long hallway, isn't it? You know, the best thing about this, though, is, while the janitor may be around, this is a good despawning location. Well, it's not really. But the janitor, for whatever reason, will not enter this hallway at all. So if you run literally right here, he will stare at you. He'll be like flashing his light around, and then he'll just turn around and bugger off, like he can't see you. I don't know if that's like something that the developers overlooked, where they're like, well, we can't have the janitor chase you into this area, but at the same time, it just looks dumb when the janitor can stare at you from here, and for you to be here and be perfectly fine. I wonder where the oh, he's right there, actually. I could show that off right now, in fact. Come at me, bro! Can't get me, can't get me. Nye, 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 nye. Hey. Oh. Let me just... Ow. Okay, I shouldn't have been screwing around. Sorry, sir. You see how... Oh. Nearly screwed myself over again there. But you see how stupid that is? It's absurd. But it's an easy way of getting rid of the janitor. I mean, it doesn't despawn him like the other thing did. But at the very least, it's a very effective hiding spot. Much better than hiding in the bloody toilet stalls at any rate. Because you can actually see where he's going. Sometimes he'll close the door though. And if you open the door after he's closed it, he will just come back out and be like, "Rrr," and then close the door again, so it can get a little tedious still. But yeah. And needs the lunch boxes. Oh, just come back in. Wow, I need to save the game. So, when did I last save? Oh. Well, didn't that happen last time as well? 10 whole days since I last recorded for this. And there you have it. Next part, probably be more puzzle-esque. But until then, see you next time, viewers. See you next time.